Hello everyone, welcome back to Data Science with Yash. So today let's get started with the Python, which is the backbone for data science, right? So if you are a beginner or just looking to refresher kind of thing, this video is definitely for you. So let's get started. So today's agenda will be understanding what is comments, what is single line comment, what is multi-line comments, and introducing the variables and declaring and assigning the variables. And there are certain rules for declaring the variables or writing the variables that will be coming to learn, and understanding the variable types and declaring the multiple variables in a single line, and the data type conversions. Like we have implicit conversion and explicit conversion. We'll try to explore this, right? Firstly, so before diving into this, I'm assuming that you have Python installed or a similar environment. Like if you have not installed, just go to YouTube, and there will be plenty of videos which will be guiding through the entire process of installation of Anaconda and Jupyter, right? Just type how to install Anaconda, how to install Jupyter, and you'll find plenty of videos in the YouTube which will be like instructing step by step for the installation process, right? So this is the Jupyter interface. Let me briefly tell what this interface and what are the options available, right? Sorry. So basics by, so here, just a second. So here you can able to edit or rename the file name, right? And you have menu bar, file, edit, view, and everything else. And this is the place where you try to write the code, right? And just tap on the left side and just type A. So you're able to add a new cell. Here you can actually add a new cell, but just by clicking this. But here just type A, you're able to add the cell, and X for deleting that particular cell, and P for adding a cell below of this line, right? This is something that you need to understand this interface. So let's get started, right? What is single line comment and multi-line comments, and what are the comments actually are? So basically, comments are like notes. You're trying to write some notes which is representing that particular code which you are writing, right? You're writing some code and you're trying to explain that particular code by writing some note. So these comments are crucial in making the notes to understand others and also to yourself in future reference, right? So representing single line comment is through you write a hash and then you start writing something related to this particular code which it tries to explain about the code. So this is something you are preparing some note related to that code, right? And for multi-line comments, you write inverted comma starting and ending, and then you write some code. So let me first print this. So you're getting hello world. So this comment is just added a node and it will not reflect anywhere in the output. And similarly here, right? Clear? So now let's discuss about the most important topic for today's session is the variables, right? And reducing the variables. So basically, variables you can assume it as some container at homes, like we store the rice at some container, right? In a similar way, these variables will also be acting as containers where you store different data. It can be of int, it can be a float, it can be a string, it can be a boolean expression or something. So the different type of data can be stored in a container, and that particular container here we call it as variable. Clear? So let me give an example so you'll be having a better understanding on it, right? I've written age. This age is the variable, or you can treat it as a container which is holding this value 24. Clear? So similarly, here name equals to Yashwanth, which is there in the string format. So this name is a container which is holding this particular value. Clear? And next comes the rules for writing variables. Okay. So you cannot write a variable or declare a variable as of our own. There are certain rules that need to be followed. The very first one is like a variable name must and should start with a letter or underscore, and a variable name cannot start with a number, and a variable name can only contain letters, numbers, and underscores, and not beyond this. You cannot have a special character as a variable, right? And the variable names are case sensitive, right? Name which is starting with a small letter and here capital letter and this is entire capital, these will be acting as three different variables or three different containers which will be holding the values, right? So let me give an examples on these points. Okay, so 1 second. So the first point is like a variable name must start with a letter. Let me write it. I have written a variable my name is equals to Yash, right? This is a valid. And second one, you can start off by writing an underscore as well. My name is equals to Yash. So this is also valid. And you can also add my name to is equals to Yash, right? So you can have the numbers in between or at the end, but you cannot start. Like in the next example, it will be clear for you. So fourth is like to my name is equals to YASH. This is invalid. You cannot start a variable or declare a variable by writing a number. Clear? So similarly, my space and then you write name is equals to Yash. This also again invalid. Next, my hyphen NAME is equals to Yash. This is also invalid because here we are using hyphen. We cannot use hyphen. We can only use, as I told, we can only use A to Z or the numbers or the underscore, right? So these three are valid and these are invalid. These are the rules that need to be followed, right? Yes. And case sensitivity. As I told, name is equals to Yash, and the other I'm starting with NAME is equals to Yashwanth. So these are two different things, right? Maybe the name, the meaning is same, but these are treated as two different variables or two different containers holding different values. Clear? Yes. So next is that reassigning the variables concept. Trying to reassign. Just a second. Reassigning the variables. So I have given a variable, declared a variable as name, and I given the value Jesh, and then the same variable I have given Jeshwant. So when I'm trying to print this, what will be the output? The recent one. See here, you have declared name as Yash, and again the same variable is Yashwant, but we would receive only the recent assigned one. So here, what you're trying to do is you're trying to reassign the variable values, right? Similarly, here you see you have created a new variable as first name equals to, and you assigned a value, and that value is the previous variable. And when you're trying to print this, you can get the output as Yashwant. Clear? Next is understanding about the variable types, like what different types of data types that it can hold. So x equals to 5 is an integer, y equals to 3.5 is again a float, and name equals to Yashwant, which is a string, and is student equals to false is a boolean expression, right? So when you're trying to print this, the type of the type of the data that it is holding, just to check, just a second. Yes, sorry. Yeah. So 5 is an integer, and you can see here class as int, and 3.5 is a decimal, and in Python we call it as float. So class float, and Yashwant, which is there in the inverted comma, so str represents the string, and false is again a boolean, right? Yeah. And this is multivariable assignment. You see here, I have declared a variable first name, and then next is last name, and then country, and then age. I given the values as P, Yashwant, India, and 24, right? Let me print this. Shift and enter. I use shift and enter to print, right? So you can see here first name, last name, country, age. When you're trying to print first name, you got P, Yashwant, India, and 24. An individual, I'm trying to print first name, comma, first name, last name, country, age. You can see here is a, and when you're trying to print the type of age, the class that is holding is int, right? Age is in 24. So 24 is an integer. And here you're trying to print the entire key value pair in a key value pair in a single line. First name P, last name Yashwant, country, India, age 24. Clear? So the next concept is the data type conversion. Very much important. Data type conversion. We have two types of conversions basically. One is implicit conversion and the other is explicit conversion. Okay. So in implicit conversion, we the Python interpreter itself does everything. The conversion into data type, right? Without our intervention. So implicit conversion is done by the Python interpreter without the programmer's intervention. Clear? And explicit conversion is something like you have a value which is there in the string format, and you're forcefully trying to convert it into string or any other data type. Like when, let's say initially it is there in int and you're trying to convert it into string, or vice versa, string into int, or string into float, or float into int. In that sense, like we are forcefully trying to convert that particular value into the different data type, right? This will be more clear with the example. You can see here, price of the pen I've given as 8.5, which is in decimal. So this is a float, and the number of units purchased is 5, again an integer. And when I'm trying to multiply these both, definitely we'll be getting a value of 5 into 8.5. It's nothing but 42.5. But here we are not specifying which type of data the output should be. But the Python interpreter itself does everything. So 42.5, and it has given the data type as float, right? So similarly here in this example, you can see the price is 2250 and the tax is 2.5, but I've given the inverted comma, which means this is right now a string. But when I'm trying to sum up these both, price plus tax, definitely we'll be getting an error because this is an int, and here this is in string. A string and int cannot be summed up, right? So we are getting some error. And here you can see here the price is 250 and the tax initially it is in string, but later when I'm trying to sum up, I just gave it as a float of text. Like we are forcefully converting this particular string into float data type so that it these both get sum up. So this is something, this is something called as explicit conversion, where we are trying to like forcefully convert one data type into another data type, right? Clear? And similarly for these examples, initially the age is in string. When we are trying to print the type of age, we're getting it as class string, and then next we are trying to convert this data type into int and then checking for it. Here we can see the class is now integer. Clear? Similarly, one more example, height is 5.9, which is there in decimal, that is float. You can see here the class is float, and when I'm trying to convert this it into int, right? Integer, and then print this. You can see here it has got converted into integer. Initially it is in float and it got converted into int. And for integer, 5.9 is taking as 5. Clear? What we have learned today, right? We have started off by understanding what is comments, what is single line and multi-line comment, how we represent it, and introducing the variables and rules for writing the variables, right? Understanding the different variable types, data types that it can hold, and the multi variable in a single line, right? And then the data type conversions, implicit and explicit conversions, and all. Clear? So remember one thing: the practice is key, right? Try using different examples. Try writing different Python code, like using these concepts. Try writing different Python codes. Clear? So if you have any questions or any further clarification on this topic, please feel free to drop the comment, or you can also reach out to me in social media, right? Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated for the upcoming advanced topics where we'll be diving deep into the Python programming, right? Thank you so much. Happy coding.